What are the benefits of fitting solar?
So for me, there's two main benefits or reasons that people would be looking to get solar. First of all, there's the savings on your bill, ultimately being able to generate your own free power to use in the house. There's the environmental side as well. Some people are massive on the eco side. That's their focus. They might be doing it for themselves because of their beliefs. They might be doing it to hand down to the kids. They might be doing it for the grandkids. But ultimately, if you can generate your own free power and do your bit for the environment at the same time, I think that would appeal to most.
What percentage would you say it's fair to see that we've had feedback from our customers that they've seen the bills reducing by?
Huge. I can't recall any system we've installed that's not achieved or overachieved on the forecast that we've given. You know, numerous customers come back, they're overachieving by 10, 20, 30%. I've had a system a year now, and I'm tracking to overachieve by 40% on the forecast.
Really?
And that's what we want, yeah.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
We want people coming back, overachieving, leads to referrals. You know, the reviews we've got are fantastic, and that comes through in those
Yeah,
numbers.
of course it is, yeah. Is now a good time to get solar?
Simple answer to that is yes. The kit's as good as it's been. The payback's as quick as it's ever been for me. Advances in battery technology has just took it to another level. And
it's probably worth taking advantage of the 0% VAT as well.
100%, yeah, definitely. From a cost point of view, that makes a huge difference. The change in tariffs, flexible nighttime tariffs, being able to charge up, use that power, take advantage of a cheaper time period, and use at peak time is huge.
And with the price cap, I think we're suspecting that to go up again, aren't we, soon?
Yeah. The forecast is next year that's gonna rise further. So energy's as high as it's been. I don't see any point where it's going to drop. The EV's taking over. There's a massive tax black hole that's got to be filled there. Tens of billions surely, and it's got to come from somewhere. And you think it'll only be electricity?
Definitely, yeah. What are the typical warranty periods for solar products?
So the warranties that we offer are greater than 10 years typically. Some products vary, but the main items that we install, the solar panels, the inverters and batteries, they provide a 10-year or more warranty.
Yeah. The panels tend to carry a bigger warranty, don't they?
Yeah, so they've normally got 2 warranty periods, and one of them can go up to 20 to 25 years.
Mm.
The other one can be less, but over 10 is what we would always specify.
Yeah. How many panels will I need?
Good question. I mean, for me, solar comes down to 3 factors, really. It comes down to the available roof space. What can you get on the roof? Where do you want them to go? Some people might not want to go on one side.
Yeah.
They may be planning an extension. There might be a dormer going on in the future. But ultimately, the roof space, it comes down to usage. You want to make sure you're hitting that sweet spot and maximising the returns. And then it comes down to budget. It's easy to assume that you'd fill both sides of your roof and get an enormous battery, but you want to make sure that it's spec'd up to your needs and you're going to maximise the returns.
Yeah, of course. Does it matter? This is a really frequent question we get asked in the office. Does it matter which side my roof faces?
I think I'm a good one to answer this because, as I said, I'm coming up to, I think it's a week till I've had mine a year, and I've got 5 panels that face directly north. Now, apart from the middle of the summer, they're never getting direct sunlight, but they always produce something as long as the sun's up, as there's daylight. So no, any roof will generate. A north-facing roof, from my experience, will produce about 50% of a south. I've got 10 south, 5 north. They produce all day long. Even the dullest, darkest, dampest day in the middle of January, they always produce something. So south is best. South is always going to generate the most. But an east and a west facing roof would give you 80-85% of a south. And quite often an east and west facing roof can be better, arguably, because you're going to generate all throughout the day.
I think it's educating people on that, because I have conversations with people when they ask what you're up to nowadays, and you're in the solar game, and I ask them a simple question: have you thought about getting solar if you've not already got it? And one of the frequent answers is, well, my roof faces the wrong way. So I think all it would take is for them to get a quotation and the forecast to see that they can generate free power, can't they?
100%. I think where that comes from is in the feed-in tariff days, there was a lot of rent-a-roof schemes where these companies wanted to buy your roof, the generation for the most productive part of it, the first 5, 7, 10 years, whatever it might be. And they wanted to maximise their returns. Kit was expensive, it wasn't particularly productive, and they wanted to make sure that the roof was self and they were getting as much as possible. But when it's you and your benefit from the full pot, any roof will work.
Of course.
Definitely. And two roofs together can be better.
Yeah.
You're generating as much as you can.
How long does a solar installation take?
So during the quotation process, the customer can ask our team in the office to provide a guidance, to provide a guide on the length of time that it would take for the installation to be conducted.
We do see, obviously, quicker installs in summer, don't we, due to the weather. But even in winter, we see installs still completed in one day, don't we?
That's correct, yeah. So with the light level being available during the installation period over the course of the day, we do normally rely on the sunlight for the installation to be conducted on the roof. Some of our teams do use lights to illuminate the roof space to complete installations, but obviously if it's going dark at 4 o'clock, that's where it may stretch to 2 days.
Yeah. And with us obviously doing predominantly domestic residential installs, we're in and out within a day, but when we've done the commercial ones, it just depends on the size of the job, doesn't it, with regards to how many days install that would take.
So it all just scales up according to the number of panels and the inverter selection, plus if the electrical side is complex. So that would normally be related to commercial installations.
Okay. Another good question, which again I get asked quite a lot when I ask people if they've got solar. Do solar panels work all year round?
Yeah. I mean, I covered that previously with my system. So yeah, a long sunny day in summer is obviously going to produce more than a dull dark day in winter. But,
yeah, I think it's good to make people aware that sunshine is not actually needed. It's daylight. So people think great, sunny days obviously perform really well, but just with the daylight, solar's always going to perform, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Even roofs that suffer from shade at different parts of the day, there's ways and means of dealing with that. You can put optimizers on. That'll be picked up at any pre-installation report with recommendations. But yeah, any roof will produce year round at different levels.
So with the optimizers, just to give people a bit of knowledge on them, I think Joe's probably the best one to answer this. Just in a simple way, just explain to us how the Tego optimizers work on a system.
So in a normal solar installation, the panels are connected in strings, which is a circuit of panels. If one panel on, say, a string of 8 panels is shaded, the performance of the other panels is affected as well. So with optimization, if all the panels are optimized, or a selection of the panels are optimized according to the design, the shaded panel will not affect the other panels on the string.
Right.
So the performance won't be affected. So if that one dropped down to 20% of the production that was available at that time, then the rest would be affected without optimization down to a similar level. Whereas with optimization, the rest could perform at 100% still whilst that one dropped down. Say if it was shaded by a chimney at a particular time of day.
Right. Clever bit of kit.
It is.
Another big question and a big, popular option for customers to take. How do solar batteries work?
So we install inverters that use the DC power side to charge the batteries. So from solar straight through to the batteries, which is a more efficient way to get energy into the batteries. So the priority of the energy that's produced from the solar panels goes first to the house loads. So whatever you've got on in the house, lights, whatever appliances are turned on at the time. The next the next avenue for the solar power is to go into the batteries, and then the batteries will then charge up over the course of the day. If the batteries are full, then the excess would then be exported back to the grid.
Right. So if you're working at home all day, PV's producing free electric, you're not there to consume it, you can store it directly in your batteries for when you get home at tea time and the kettle goes on and the showers go on and the oven goes on.
That's it, yeah. And then obviously the batteries react to the loads in the property accordingly as well. So if the solar's producing 1 kilowatt and the home loads go up to 3 kilowatts, say that a kettle's turned on in the property, that would be a 3 kilowatt load. The extra 2 kilowatts would come from the batteries if there is power, charge available.
They're becoming really popular for us, batteries now. I don't think we typically do an install now without the inclusion of batteries, do we?
No.
Very rarely. Generally speaking, the only customers that would go without battery is if it's a new build and they need to reach certain touch points for EPC ratings. But for a normal household, quite often, without stereotyping, everyone's busy, working, kids at school all day. The majority of use would be at night, and it just allows you to maximise the units that you produce. So yeah, they're the key for me. Yeah.
And I think, to be honest with you, I mean, batteries have come a long way recently in solar, but I think there's still a lot more development with batteries as well, isn't there?
Yeah, constantly evolving. And the look of them, now that they're a showpiece, people have them on display in the garage.
Yeah.
They're a good-looking piece of kit. Gone are the days where, it's a boring little black box that sticks up in the loft. Some people make a real show of them. In commercial jobs, it's a talking point. Good-looking pieces of kit.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of batteries, I think it might be good to explain what the split rate tariffs are about.
Yeah, it's a real feature and allows customers to take advantage of cheaper units, especially in the winter months when production is lower. If you've got a tariff, using Octopus as an example, they have a number of tariffs. The Go tariff allows you a rate between 5 and 10p a kilowatt, designed to charge your vehicle overnight. But if you've got a battery, you can take advantage of those units and use in the day.
Yeah.
In the winter months, when your solar will generally produce less than summer, it allows you to limit the amount of full price units you're buying. Or in a really, really busy household, you may use it all year round. It might be that you've not got the available space to generate enough for your usage, and being able to channel those cheaper units is massive.
And I think it's worth to say that we do have customers that might not necessarily have the budget for a full solar PV system. They might have a roof that's either tricky or a flat roof that they don't want to load bear with sun tubs. So they tend to take a battery management system off us, don't they?
Yeah, 100%. Joe, some roofs just aren't suitable. It might be a planning issue. It might be, they've got an unbelievable...
Aesthetics.
Yeah, exactly. Joe, they've spent $2 million on a house. They built it themselves. It's the pride and joy, and they just don't want solar. That's their choice. But with a battery management system, you can still take advantage of those nighttime rates. And for me, I just see this sort of rate becoming the norm. Energy's high. It's going to stay high in my view. A tariff, an energy company will sell a tariff at times of the day where it's to their benefit. They're going to sell it cheaper when it's cheap to them and more expensive when it's more expensive. Simple as that.
Yeah.
The tariffs that are developing in the market, some of the suppliers have 4 or 5 different tariffs available to each individual customer now. So post installation, once the customer is used to the installation and how it operates automatically for them in the main, they can then look at the different products that are available to them and take advantage of them. So they just contact into our office. We run through what's possible with the battery charging, battery discharging side, and we can match up to multiple different tariff types. It's really quite exciting at the moment.
Good. Crucial question, really. How much will a solar panel and battery storage system typically cost me?
Yeah, so your average system, I would say, is 12 to 14 panels with a battery.
Yeah.
That sort of system, you'd be looking around the 10,995 mark. Systems can start from as low as 9995. That'd be 10 panels, decent wattage panels, modern panels, and a 5.32 kilowatt battery generally. But we can spec any system at all, from a single person with minimal use all the way up to a commercial business using thousands and thousands of units a month. But yeah, I'd say your starting point with a battery is about the 9995 mark.
And our kit's definitely looking a lot better, isn't it, with the black fixing kit, the black rail, all black panels.
Yeah. Gone of the days where you look at roofs and as soon as you start looking at getting involved with solar, you're looking up more than you did before.
Yeah.
You see the older blue panels don't look good. You see silver rail. The new kit now fully black. The panels look fantastic. The rail's discreet. Just good looking kit. It looks like it's
almost when you're looking at obviously we're based on Buckshaw, aren't we? And when you drive through Buckshaw, like you say, you do tend to look at more roofs now that we're all involved in solar. But an all black kit on the solar system sometimes can look like an in-roof system. It's that sleek.
Absolutely, yeah. On a modern roof, looks fantastic.
I think the gap is one of the other elements that's highlighted. So the gap between the tiles and the panels. So on the older blue poly systems, polycrystalline panel systems with silver frames, the gap used to be 6 inches or so or more. Now the gap is much smaller, so 4 inches or less is typical. So that's why they can look like an integrated system. It's just fantastic, the change with the kits. The quality's come on a long way.
Yeah. Okay. What would be my payback time on a solar system?
Yes, so all comes down to usage. With battery, we've seen paybacks within 4 or 5 years with the right usage and the right setup and the right direction. As an average, I'd say if you were going for a typical system with an average size battery, I'd say the 6 to 8 year mark is typical, but that can be improved upon. Bear in mind that's based on our figures, which we deliberately underspec. We underestimate the average price of a tariff. We underestimate the potential for selling to the grid, and you can easily improve on that. As an average, 7 years, I'd say.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see quicker payback periods as energy costs rise?
100%. Yeah. The more expensive energy gets, the quicker the payback period. Simple as that. As tariffs evolve and there's more cheaper night rates, even more so.
And usage of batteries, obviously.
100%. Yeah.
Interesting one. This. Do solar panels add value to your home?
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing. I'm in the process of looking at a new house, and in adverts now you're seeing that as a real selling point. I think I saw on a government website the other day they estimate they can add as much as 14% to a property.
Yeah, that's on the government's website.
Yeah, that's it. But absolutely, I think as times move on, we're going to get to a point where properties need to reach a certain touch point to certainly be rented out and potentially to be sold. Potential D&O issues with heat pumps and other factors. So without question, if you're selling a property and you're selling it on the basis that it can generate its own power and save thousands a year, that has to increase value.
Definitely. It used to be the advertisement of a double garage or a driveway or a conservatory, but we are now seeing solar PV as an added extra on estate agents' listings.
Definitely.
Right, so this question's quite another popular one, and we're going to see a lot more people asking it as time goes on. Can solar panels charge my electric car?
Yeah, so the surplus energy can be diverted to the car with most EV charger types. We can configure that as part of the installation. But it's great to be able to do that. Being able to put miles from your roof, effectively, it's a fantastic feature.
Free.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, gone are the days where people are sat in a petrol station queue waiting for energy, effectively in liquid form, but the cost of that, obviously we've seen it fluctuate massively over the last few years. Yeah. Whereas with solar at home, you've got that steady resource there. You can funnel it into your car. If you a lower mileage customer, I've spoken with customers around the country who've they basically over the summer months they're not topping up from the grid. They're using surplus solar to get to and from the shops, seeing family. It's just fantastic to see that development in the market. It's just great.
Leading on from that as well, I saw an article yesterday about 1-year-old EVs, and it listed the top 10 EVs that have depreciated the most in the last year. And you can get that. I saw various, an Ioniq, I think, Hyundai, that have dropped 44% in a year. And for me, that's key, because an EV is an expensive piece of kit.
Yeah.
If you can now get it for less than 50% of the original price, it opens it up to the masses and lets more people take advantage of those nighttime tariffs. So for me, in a world of increasing petrol prices, that's a fantastic opportunity.
From the data that we know, only 5% of the UK has got solar, as opposed to our neighbouring countries where solar is quite huge. I'm pretty sure Germany and Holland, you see up to 40% coverage of solar over there. Why do you think the UK is so far behind?
I mean, that's amazing, only 5%. The potential is huge. I think there's the misconception that you need beaming weather. It'd be fantastic to live on the south coast of Spain where you've got 300 days of glorious sunshine, but we don't. We live where we live. But you don't need sunshine to generate from solar. It's daylight rather than direct sunlight. Obviously, a bright, beaming day will produce more, but even the dullest, darkest, dampest, gloomiest day will produce. Sometimes, with the right glare, light cloud can produce not too far from maximum generation.
Right.
But yeah, and summer days especially, you've got 14 hours of daylight, potentially more. You will produce some decent numbers, especially with a battery system where you can catch the surplus.
And like the summer we've just had, what happens when it's raining?
Yeah, well, interesting with the rain, because these panels are designed to be self-cleaning. Bear in mind, these can go on a 5-storey London townhouse that would cost £6,000 to access. It's not feasible that you can clean these on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
So the modern day panels have a film on them that makes them self-cleaning. So arguably, a bit of rain, won't do any harm. If anything, it's going to improve generation when it clears up.
Right.
And rain comes and goes.
Ever the salesman, Jeff?
I call it panel cleaning weather when it's raining. So yeah, it literally is removing deposits, any fine dust or anything on that side.
Sahara rain like we've just had.
Yeah, it just steadily removes those deposits, and you get a boost in production after they've self-cleaned. So
That's it. But even on a rainy day, there's still production there, and it comes and goes. But that's all factored into the calculations. Our quote takes into account average weather from the last 10 years. No issue, rain.
And going back to that 5%, we know now from the MCS data, don't we, that installations are a record high, and I can only see installations increasing very quickly in the UK. Can you?
Yeah, without question. It's busy. It's going to get busier. People are getting educated, and it's videos like this that help.
Yeah, well, the whole point of today is to answer questions that the customers have asked. But I think people might be a little bit hesitant about solar because they're not au fait with how the system works. But yeah, we're excited, aren't we, on the development of the business that's out there.
Definitely, the next few years are going to be massive. It's becoming more and more common. So many inquiries and educating people.
And with solar, obviously we've seen documentaries on the BBC about other forms of renewable energy. Air source, ground source, nuclear, hydrogen boilers that are going to be hopefully coming out soon. But solar, we're in and out in a day. It's free electric from the sun, and we believe it's the best solution, quickest solution, to go green.
Yeah, I think it's available to the masses as well. Some of the other solutions, there's this talk of people getting domestic wind fitted in the garden. The groundwork involved and the cost involved and the payback is much longer. Solar is a realistic solution that's available to the masses.
Yeah.
I think it's in the reach of most households. The payback's fantastic, and leading on to the documentary on the BBC as well, I think it proves the point of getting the right company. This is a massive investment. It's not like doing your home insurance or your car insurance once a year. You know, this is a once in a lifetime thing for most. You've got this system for 20 odd years.
Yeah.
You want to make sure the company's been trading for longer than a year. So companies come and go. It's easy to get a roofer and electrician together, do a few systems.
And we do come across, come up against, don't we, in the quoting process.
Yeah.
People will shop around. It's natural. We all do it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to solar, and you're investing that kind of money on the asset, between 13 and 15k, you want to make sure you're with a reputable company, don't you? And you want to make sure that the aftercare is going to be there because, as Joe said, even though the manufacturer's warranties are lengthy, it's still the workmanship, that you want. Like anything, if you buy a washing machine, if you buy a car, you want to be confident that you've got the support after the install.
100%. There's massive value in that. The right company that you're confident will be there in 5, 10, 15 years.
And hopefully, without plugging us too much, people can see our customer care is really what we focus on.
Yeah.
And our reviews on Trustpilot and Google, show that.
Yeah, we treat each individual customer issue as though it's our issue, and we want to provide a resolution that's clear for everybody.
Yeah.
We do that by following a rigorous process and providing 100% satisfaction all the way through.
And we don't knock, solars, like we said, there's 95% of the market still to go at, so your electricians of the world are diversifying now into the solar game, aren't they? But we would just, recommend doing your due diligence, wouldn't we, on the company that you choose to make sure that, you're going to get the support that they advertise.
It's that infrastructure behind it as well, Joe. We've got a team of 20 in the background that deal with the post-install queries, monitoring systems, updates.
Well, in fact, leading on to that, I think that leads us on to how would a customer, it's not one of the questions we've been asked, but in the office through the ticketing system, we get asked quite a lot, don't we? And part of our handover, process is to engage with the customer on the app, the monitoring portal.
Yeah.
So just touch on that, Joe, on how the customer can see what they've produced daily, what they're pulling from the grid, etc., etc.
So each inverter type that we install includes a monitoring platform. So you can see the amount of energy you've imported, exported, and stored into the batteries and brought back out again. They include a graph to show where your energy is flowing as well. It's just brilliant how far it's come on in the last 5, 6, 7 years.
And like Jeff touched on, we've got a full team of dedicated tech support staff, haven't we?
Yeah.
That, at any given time, customers can phone the office, email in. We've got your tutorial videos. Joseph, the star of solar, becoming a popular figure. But any support like that, they know where to go, don't they?
That's it. I mean, banging a screenshot across from an app, send it across to our team. We look at it, any anomalies on there, anything that's completely normal but just needs an explanation. We just want to make sure we provide that 100% satisfaction every time.
Yeah, and we've got our lads on the ground, haven't we, who are field-based, who can attend properties as and when, if needed be.
Yeah.